The Washington Post taking heat for a headline on the death of Islamic State leader al-Baghdadi. The paper's original headline called him the ISIS terrorist-in-chief, but for some reason, the Post changed it to call him an austere religious scholar. The dictionary defines austere as severe in manner or appearance, rigorously self-disciplined, or without excess. After people ripped into the paper for that headline, the Post changed it one more time, settling on extremist leader. A spokesperson for the paper tweeted about the austere headline, saying it, quote, should never have read that way, and we changed it quickly. With me now, Fox and Friends anchor Brian Kilmeade. We were both just talking in the break. When I first saw that headline, I thought the Washington Post had either been hacked or it was a joke or like a fake Washington Post account, but it turns out it was real. And then I watched the Trump family respond. Even Ivanka, who doesn't really respond to this type of thing, they chimed in. Are you kidding? The way you talk about my dad is one thing, and now you'd go ahead and do this. And remember what happened last week. The President of the United States says we're canceling all subscription to government buildings to the New York Times and Washington Post. This is something I don't really think is a hard thing to do. What I find unbelievable is in the statement, because you're a communications expert, regarding al-Baghdadi obituary, the headline should never have read that way. Read that way? How about written that way? Don't get on me for reading it the wrong way. Right.
It's
not my fault.
They're blaming me for misinterpreting what they meant.
Yeah, I'm sorry you took it that way.
Why isn't that person? I'm not into boycotting or firing, but why not say this 22-year-old intern who
Well, here's the other thing, is that,
the Onion,
what happens
by mistake put that in.
Media organizations plan for obituaries for people that are either famous or people, if the number one national security obligation was to get Baghdadi, and President Trump does that, and you know that's his number one commitment to the people of the United States. You would have that prepared. So presumably they had a piece that was ready to go.
The first one.
I would just recommend, you should definitely then, if you have the article ready to go, you should have your social media ready to go too.
Right.
That should not be something that is done lightly.
Well, I mean, was it a holiday weekend? Were there no supervisors?
Well, it was a weekend.
But then people went to town on this on Twitter. Adolf Hitler, dedicated to art enthusiast, animal rights activist, dead at 56. Genghis Khan, noted traveler, dies at 64. Satan, unorthodox faith leader known for pushing back against famous winemaker Jesus, dies at 14 billion. So people just said, could not believe
I like
this
the
is
John
happening.
Wilkes Booth one, aspiring thespian, dead at 26. But there was also media criticism of President Trump for how he referred to Baghdadi and those that died. But President Obama also used similar language, so let's watch both of those.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. Baghdadi and the losers who worked for him, and losers they are, they had no idea what they were getting into. He was a sick and depraved man, and now he's gone. Baghdadi was vicious and violent, and he died in a vicious and violent way as a coward, running and crying. He died like a dog. He died like a coward. The world is now a much safer place.
They are thugs and killers, part of a cult of death.
If these madmen ever got their hands on a nuclear bomb or nuclear material, they most certainly would use it to kill as many innocent people as possible.
So President Obama also described them thugs and killers. Now, President Obama's not as blunt as President Trump, doesn't have the delivery style. But why criticize President Trump for something that President Obama alluded to? He just didn't have the same tone.
I know. But, Jake LaMotta isn't, the Raging Bull, isn't as blunt as Donald Trump is. I mean, there's something about there's certain people have a way with words. Yeah. And I had no problem with it. This is the way Donald Trump acts. He took 45 minutes worth of questions. President Obama walked out. Here's my speech. Gotta go. Down the hall. Different approaches. I just don't understand. That's the way he does it. That's the way he does it. He's wrong. Everybody else is right. It's just an odd situation we're in. For certain people, there's nothing he could do that's right. Even for experts that said this was a risky mission, it took a lot of guts to call for it, then turned around and said, well, he shouldn't have taken questions. We should have taken the DNA home. We shouldn't have talked about how he was blown up the way he was.
I guess people are just going to criticize anything. But I saw that and I thought, well, if you think about what Baghdadi did, the women who were raped, the men who were beheaded, the Americans who were felled at the hands of this horrible, horrible person who is now dead. And because of our amazing intelligence community, our military, our commander-in-chief, I feel like that is something to celebrate, not criticize.
Let me just point this out because I know you're up against it. People get on him for not knowing details of things. He knew every detail of this. He's been following it close. I talked to, in the last 48 hours on television, Steve Bannon, Lindsey Graham, Mike Pompeo. They all have the same thing. From day one when he took over, he's been obsessed with taking him out.
Yep.
This has been a long-term goal. Can you at least say that he accomplished a mission rather than criticize his language?
No, they cannot do it, Brian, but we can commend the commander-in-chief. Thank you, Brian Kilmeade. Appreciate it. Wildfires raging up and down California from wine country to Los Angeles. This is forcing thousands of people from their homes. We are live on the fire lines. Up next.